Hi, welcome back to Susan's Kitchen Corner, and on this episode we're going to be making chocolate chip cookies. But we're not going to be using a handheld mixer, and we're not going to be using a food processor. We're going to be doing it old school. We're going to get a pastry chef. This is a pastry chef. So this is my college video for college edition chocolate chip cookies. This is what a pastry chef. They're not that expensive. If you look at the right thrift store, you can find one of these for like $1, $1.25. And be sure you look for the ones that are sharp, like this. I mean, I'm not going to cut myself, but they are pretty. They got a nice edge on them. Don't go for the ones that are rounded, because when it comes to actually mixing the stuff together, it doesn't work as well. So what we're going to have is 2 sticks of room temperature butter, and if you don't want to wait for them to get to room temperature, if you have a microwave, pulse them together for 8 seconds. Again, make sure you're because everyone has a different temperature powered microwave. Make sure don't look in there and then they're all melted. So watch them, and then you just want to do it until they're soft. They're like not really soft, but you can feel it. And then pulse them for another 8 seconds, and they should be fine. You're going to need 3/4 cup brown sugar, 2 cups flour with a teaspoon of baking soda, and you're going to mix that together. And yes, this is a liquid measuring cup. Don't panic. It works just fine. You're going to need chocolate chips, right side up. And for this recipe, if you make noise, I just killed my little cook. Okay, he's better. Okay, I'm gonna put in some coconut. So chocolate chip coconut. If you don't want to do this, you don't have to do this. So if you watch the video, just check the coconut. Leave the coconut out. And you're gonna need 3/4 cup sugar, and let's get started. And don't forget the 2 eggs, which I almost did. So 2 large eggs. Now, if you're like, well, I have small eggs and I don't have big eggs, it's okay. If you have small eggs, let's say they're really small, probably 3 eggs is good. If they're large eggs, 2 eggs. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix the butter first. And I'm going to bring this over here so you can watch me. Let's put this away. We're going to take the butter. There we go. Tilt the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Actually, let's do this. So you can actually look at something below the glass, because it looks like a okay, there we go. So put our butter in. Because I've watched a couple videos, and a lot of the responses are, well, I don't have a mixer, I don't have a blender, and I don't have a food processor, and I still want to make chocolate chip cookies. Well, the food processor, the hand mixer, they're good, they work, but this also works. So get your mixer, and you're going to want to get a knife. So, see how that cuts? This is a little bit elbow grease, and you save electricity on this. This is green cookies, because you're not using any electricity. You're just using the power of your arm. And of course the butter is going to be a little bit sticky, but you get the idea. And it goes pretty fast. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to pour our flour and our baking soda into another bowl, because we're going to need this bowl right here. So here it is. And Again, all you need is love. Dum, da, 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 da. All you need is love. Okay, well, enough of that. Okay, you don't have a measuring spoon, a measuring cup. Actually, I should measure out the flour for you too, because a lot of people don't have all the ingredients. I mean, all the measuring stuff. So we're gonna do the sugar. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think this is about it. Nope, I can 6 almost. 10, 11, 12. Okay, let's see here. Yep. So 12 cups, 12 tablespoons is 3/4 cup of sugar. That'll also be for the brown sugar. So put in your sugar. And if you were making apple pie, this is how you make streusel. And streusel is what you take and put on top of the apple pie. But we're not making apple pie right now. I want to make apple pie. Haven't got around to it. Okay, so we're going to just blend that right into the sugar. A little easier. Now see how it falls off? I'm not using a knife anymore. It's coming up the sides here though, but okay. There we go. Just knock it off. Okay, now we're going to do the brown sugar. And I'm just not going to count it out. And where's our handy dandy scissors? And again, when you count it out with a tablespoon or you measure it, it doesn't have to be exact. There's no law. I'm just going to scoop it out with the there's no law. It's like when you watch me do the sugar, it went over a little bit, it was a little bit under. Push it down a little bit, just gently, not compact it. Okay, that's about 3/4 cup. Chuck it in. Make a mess. And where'd my knife go? Oh, there it is. You work it in really good. Again, it's a little bit elbow grease. This is elbow grease cookies because you're working it in manually instead of having the actually when you do it this way, if you do it all 3 ways, let's say you do have a food processor, you're going to find out that the cookies that are made in this method and the handheld mixer have a better texture for some reason, because what a food processor does, okay, when you're doing this, it comes out more fluffier, more when I add the eggs in, you'll see what I mean. It has more of a texture to it. When you do it with the food processor, you're whipping the crap out of it, and you're cutting into it. And I'm cutting it into here, but I'm not pulverizing it. add our first egg. And if an eggshell falls in, I usually stick my finger in, pull it out. There's a lot of people that I notice don't like that, and they're like, ew, gross. I have to stick my hand in this, and it's disgusting. Now look how easy this is. Actually, let's get the wooden spoon out now, because this is getting to the point where I don't need to cut it anymore, because the butter is creamed, and let me make sure I get all that goodness out of there. Okay, let me get my there it is. Make sure all that is out. Okay, now if some of you are going, well, I just bought my food processor, what are you telling me that for? You know, it's each to their own. If that's how you like to do it, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it like that, but I like to try all different ways when I try a recipe, and that's what I found out. But you know, everyone has their own way of doing it. Okay, so that's the end of our pastry, Chef. We don't need that anymore because, actually, let me just use a spatula, because that's it. All we need the spatula. All we need the pastry, Chef. The pastry blender is for the chopping, the mixing of the butter, and the mixing of the sugar. And now look at this. This is okay, and this is without a blender. Now let's get the other egg. And let's mix that in. Just mix it in until you can't see that the goopiness anymore, until it's incorporated. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but it does have a little bit of you can see chunks of butter in there. And when you have chunks of butter in there, it just does something different to the cookies. And the blender, the food processor, should I say, the handheld mixer doesn't do that. It keeps everything incorporated like this. You have chunks, where the food processor, it obliterates and there's no chunks of butter in it. Okay, so I'm just going to really, I already added my baking soda into here. Yeah, let me stir that in real good. And let's get our chocolate chips out. This is the fun part. Because all you have to do is, voila, that's 2 cups. And if you want to add less, who wants to add less when you can add more? And I'm doing okay. Now you see that? I hope you can see it, but there's there's chunk of butter here, it's all small chunks. I'm not going to hang this over my computer now, because I do value my computer keyboard, but this is what I'm talking about. This is what you don't get when you do a food processor, because you're just, well, of course, the chocolate chips, you don't want to pulverize the chocolate chips. Okay, now for the if you don't want to do this, don't do it. This is like, you want to just go, okay, well, I just want to make chocolate chip cookies and I don't want to put coconut. Coconut's disgusting. Well, I'll be right back.